Boxing Source here checking in with the man from Matchroom Sport, Mr. Eddie Hearn. We got a couple days here for your card. Caribbean Royale Resort in Orlando, Ammo-Volny versus Patrice Volny. It's a great card. Got a lot of fights on that card. So talk about that, and as far as like the matchups on that card here to get people ready for what's coming up on Saturday night.
I think it's a tremendous card. I mean, Ammo against Volny is a great middleweight fight. It's a real 50-50 fight. You've got the professional debut of Amari Jones, you know, the bronze medalist from the Paris Olympics from Orlando. I feel like he's the next star of American boxing. Edgar Berlanga returns against Jonathan Gonzalez from Puerto Rico. You've got a brilliant rematch between Jalil Hackett and Jose Roman. You've got Jermaine Ortiz against Alamo. It's just a brilliant night of boxing from top to bottom. Pablo Valdez is going to be completely sold out. And yeah, looking forward to being back at the Caribbean Royale. It's one of our favourite venues to be at. Lovely sun in Orlando, and looking forward to a great night of boxing live on DAZN.
Yeah, lovely sun in Orlando. It ain't too hot around this time of year. It ain't too hot, so that's pretty good. And like you said, it's pretty much like sold out. Like, I mean, at least for me, I got a ticket because I'm like, nah, ain't no way I'm gonna miss this joint here.
Good man.
Because I mean, I got my guy Jalil Hackett, like you said, in a rematch against Jose Roman. They had the fight over in Puerto Rico. Very close fight, split decision, 6 rounds to 4, 2-4. You know, Jose Roman won for Jalil Hackett. So Jalil Hackett has said, like, nah, I got to get this one back. I
love
it.
I love the mentality. Motivated. I thought he spoke very well, especially for a man so young. You know,
21, yeah.
Like, if he loses on Saturday, he's really not in a great spot. But if he wins, he's in a great spot.
Yeah.
Because people appreciate the fact that he's rolling the dice. Yeah, and I've got to be honest, like, when I saw him in Puerto Rico, I thought he was fucked at the weight. And if he gets the weight right this time, I believe he wins.
Yeah.
But I love the mentality, and you know, I want to support fighters like that who don't have the fear of, you know, getting beat or losing an O or whatever it might be.
Yeah, and he's definitely worked on that there in his camp in reference to getting ready for Jose Roman here in the rematch. So definitely looking forward to that. Like you said, what is it? Doors open about 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
I might have to show up at like 4:30 or something.
It's going to be a wild night.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild night there for sure. And like you said, there with the main event, Ammo Williams versus Patrice Volny, key bout there in that division. Ammo Williams, of course, coming off of his loss that he had there in Riyadh, but then turned right around and had the win in the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia there in November. So he's right back in the win column. And for Volny, he was telling me about, you know, their Squealer Falcao fight. After that, going back to Canada, getting 3 wins. So you got a real great matchup there.
Tough fight for Ammo. And you know, you look at the middleweight division, you got Yanibek, you got Carlos Adames, you got Lara. Like, you haven't really got a lot of big names in the division. So I feel like the winner of this fight is going to be in a great place to move on and fight for the World Championship.
Yeah, you just got to be able to properly position him there within the rankings there.
Absolutely, yeah. But you know, he's got a good story, as you heard. You know, it was a very long speech from him up there, and he's a good kid. You know, but he's in a very tough fight on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And you talk about the thing there with Edgar Berlanga, with his fight that he has up against an undefeated opponent. Very key bout for him, of course, coming off of the fight there against Canelo Alvarez, or as I say, Santoso Alvarez Barragan. I always say the full name there with that. But he had, you know, a good effort there in that 12-round bout, and now he's coming back here in this particular fight. Of course, it's a key fight. A lot of people have been talking about it, whether it's on your side, whether it's on his side. You know, it's basically, you know what? Have him take care of business, and then after that, let's see what's out there.
Yeah, look, I get the frustration, you know. After the Canelo fight, maybe he could have taken a bigger fight, but in the contract with Canelo Alvarez, his team requested that he come back for a certain amount of money, and it was in the contract on the undercard.
Edgar Berlanga has his fight here on the undercard for Ammo versus Volny. Has the you know, little agreement, like you were saying there, as far as like getting right back in the ring after the Canelo fight. Y'all had an agreement in reference to that. You had, you know, Keith Conley, I think, you know, involved with that as well. So I mean, it's basically, hey, we're honoring our side of the contract. Now it's basically, you know,
I get his frustration, Edgar, because, you know, off the Canelo fight, you know, we did talk about a fight in Puerto Rico, but in the Canelo contract, which is at their request, they had a comeback fight for a certain amount of money on an undercard. So we're actually just honouring the contract. I think the frustration is we nearly got over the line with a Puerto Rico fight, but it just didn't work out, and I didn't want to let him down. I didn't want to not honour the contract. It's not something that we do. So Look, I think it's a good spot for him to get a win, and it's his last fight with us. We hope it can continue. And if it doesn't, we made him over $12 million. He had 3 fights with us, and we changed his life forever. And he's a good guy, deserves it, and we wish him all the best. But hopefully he looks good on Saturday night, and we can move forward this summer.
Yeah, pretty much you put him in a position to have the fight against Canelo Alvarez for, at the time,
we've done a great job.
Unified
I don't think
super middleweight
I don't
titles.
think there's any question we've done an amazing job. But, let's get back with a good win on Saturday.
Gotcha. And with that stat card here coming up on Saturday, you follow that up. You're going to Australia. Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
Cambosis, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Hitchens was here today. I
Yeah.
really want to make Hitchens Cambosis, to be honest with you. He's got a tough fight next week, but if he comes through, looking to match him with Hitchens in New York in June.
Yeah, and also in the co-feature, you got Scott Nicholson there against Tiara Brown.
Great
Hey,
fight.
listen, I've been talking about that fight ever since it was announced
Yeah.
there, because I know that with Tiara Brown, she's been a contender there, top contender
Yeah.
there for some time. With Scott Nicholson,
Yeah.
had a few fights, a couple over in Philadelphia as well. So this is
It's
really
a top
built to be a
fight.
real
Yeah,
big fight.
I think he's one of the best fights in the division. Like, Tiara is a brilliant fighter. She's 18-0, former world amateur champion. I still think, there's this weird kind of denial about the ability and the CV of Sky Nicholson. Like, she's had, I think, 140 amateur fights. She won the Commonwealth Games gold. She medalled at the World Championship. She went to the Olympics. And then since turning pro, she stopped Lucy Wildheart, who had a war with Michaela Meyer on a couple of days' notice. She beat the interim world champion. She then beat the box rec #1 for the world title, Sarah Mahfoud. She fought Vargas in a tough fight. And then Raven Chapman, top 5 Ring Magazine fighter, beat her. And she's hardly lost a round in the pros. But I do think Tiara will bring something different, maybe. That's what they all say they're going to do. But doing it's difficult. She's an unbelievable talent, Sky Nicholson. Her feet, her movement, her judgment of distance. But Tiara's a very good fighter, and I think it's one of the top fights in female boxing. And it's a great co-main event in Australia.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I saw Tiara Brown over at the 2300 in Philadelphia with their previous fight before it was announced that they had the agreement there. So that's what I'm building as you said, one of the best fights in the division.
It's difficult
pretty much
because
the best fight in
Tiara's
boxing.
never boxed at this level in the pros. It's not her fault.
Yeah.
But if you look at her CV, she's never beaten anyone of real note. But she would have fought him. It's not her fault. She just hasn't had the opportunities. But it's a big step up in levels. But she's a very good fighter.
Yeah, and that makes for a great card. Like you said, you go from here over to Australia, and then you got a couple weeks, and then April 12th, you got the big unification out there. Jerome Boots Ennis going up against Iamana Stanionis, IBF and WBA welterweight titles there in Atlantic City. So you got that big bout, and then of course April 26th, you got Eubank versus Ben. So you talk about a very busy schedule.
Absolutely,
there for
and then
boxing.
the week after that, we're involved obviously with the Times Square event, the Ring Magazine, and then Canelo in Riyadh as well. So it's just an amazing time for boxing. For me, Boots Stanionis is the fight of the year so far. I think that's a brilliant fight. I'm so happy to be going back to Boardwalk Hall. I think it's one of the most prestigious venues in American boxing, and it's a great fight for that, and a massive fight for Boots Ennis.
Couple more questions here. Now we have, of course, that big topic in reference to TKO boxing, and that forming up. It's supposed to take about a year or so before they really get things jumping off. My initial thoughts on it are you have Turki Al-Sheikh, but you also have Dana White, and you also have Khan there, and that's basically Endeavor with UFC and WWE. So it kind of makes it lean towards more the entertainment side of sports instead of the actual sport of sports. So what are your initial thoughts of them forming that?
I think it's great for boxing. I know there's a lot of people saying, oh, what do you think? It's like anytime a company like Endeavour or some people as bright as Nick and Dana get involved in boxing, it can only be good for the sport. The way they run their business is not going to suit the traditional boxing model or the traditional boxing industry. But does a league work? How does it work? I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it's exciting, and we'll see what spits out.
Gotcha. Now, with that being said, what would you say is the future of boxing within the next 3 or 5 years?
I think, the whole boxing is broken. Boxing's always been like this. You can't control boxing because it's out of control, right? But what it is unbelievably fun. It's like the Wild West at times. And you're never going to get one person controlling the sport because there's just too many players, there's too much ambition, there's too much ego. No one's ever going to let it play out like that.
Too many hands in the pot, as
exactly.
they
But
say.
what you can do maybe with the league is create a different kind of product, like you said, an entertainment product for boxing that is easier to understand maybe for the casual fan. Me, I ain't a casual fan, so I love the sport in all its rawity.
Hey, you love the sport. It's your life, basically.
Yeah,
it's your
basically.
life, as you say. So, with that being said, definitely looking forward to more here from Matchroom Boxing. And big thanks here from the Boxing Source for taking the time to speak with us.
Thanks, mate.
All right.